me know when I'm good.
I'll let you know. You're live.
All right, hey folks, welcome to the safety brief this week. Before we jump into the safety brief, as we start disconnecting everything and making the social distancing happen, we're losing some of the things we do in the Air Force. I don't want to lose this event, so we're going to start this with a decoration presentation for Sergeant Hall. So please turn up the volume because I think it's important to hear the awesome stuff he's done for y'all.
Attention to orders. This is to certify that the Air Force Commendation Medal, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster, has been awarded to Staff Sergeant Alonzo E. Hall for meritorious service from 27 May 2016 to 23 May 2020. Staff Sergeant Alonzo E. Hall distinguished himself by meritorious service as military training leader, 316th Training Squadron, 17th Training Group, 17th Training Wing, Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas. During this period, Sergeant Hall led over 5,100 intelligence airmen across 15 Air Force specialties through foundational military training and the enforcement of standards, bearing, and discipline. Additionally, he revamped and streamlined the squadron's student out-processing program by eliminating 116 hours of unnecessary appointments, which facilitated the on-time departure of 3,480 graduates in support of 64 intelligence units. Furthermore, Sergeant Hall served as the anti-terrorism and force protection representative for the student populace. In this capacity, he organized 110 overseas travel briefings to provide 220 airmen with timely and accurate guidelines regarding Department of Defense travel regulations. Moreover, he conducted monthly random anti-terrorism measure exercises, which ensured the safety and security of 4 student dormitories valued at $42 million. Finally, as a master resiliency trainer and advocate of airmen development, Sergeant Hall led multiple 17th Training Group morale and mentorship events and coordinated with 15 base agencies to provide career blueprints to over 3,000 air students. His actions garnered praise from the 17th Training Wing Commander and was key to his unit selection as the Air Education and Training Command Technical Training Squadron of the Year for 2017. The distinguished accomplishments of Sergeant Hall reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
The medal. Can I have the medal? All right. Where did Ken stuff the medal on you? Everything a picture? Take a picture?
Screenshot.
All right, this is where you guys all should be clapping. All right, we're going to keep 6 feet so I can take this off real fast. I think it's important for you all to hear the medal. Normally we do this in front of the entire crowd of the safety brief. So we don't have those. We have the virtual ones. It's critically important, though, to recognize what Sergeant Hall has done for you guys over the last couple of years. Sergeant Hall, do you have any quick words you want to say? Watch out, I'll make you answer hard questions.
Not exactly. It's always bittersweet, to leave.
You talk to them now.
I'm sorry. It's always bittersweet, to leave a job that you love, a job that you've invested your last 4 years of, coming here in day in and out, helping out the Intel students, supporting them. I really like my job. It's been, there've been ups and downs, but overall, as long as I'm making an impact on airmen, to me, that's all that matters. So, I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward for my next base.
Clap for him. I know everybody's clapping. All right, you guys want to get out there before you have to answer hard questions.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, hey, dude, thanks a lot, man.
No worries.
I can't.
No worries. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All right, so we're going to get our 6 feet here.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Sorry there's a bit of a delay, but one, I didn't want to tell anybody we were going to do that because then he would have found out. And two, I think it's again, like I said before, it's critically important to recognize what people are doing, even while we have to do stuff virtually through YouTubers. So happy Thursday, safety brief time. Right off the jump, couple very quick notes. I realize we're going on 10 weeks of this, I think 8 or so weeks since we've been locked down, or restricted rather. I need people to bear with us. We've had a few cracks in the armor. We've had some people go off base, get caught coming back on base. You can't do that. If you do that, I have to drop a hammer fairly heavy right away. It's a Colonel Nazario regulation, right, to stay on base. So if you go off, there's nothing worth the kind of problems you're going to cause if you do. And it also undermines some of the other conversations about getting things open. So please adhere to the restrictions. And I got it. They suck. I know it's tough. I just need you guys to kind of hold on a little longer. Another real popular topic, PT. It's going to be coming back. You'll see over the next few weeks how it's going to go. I'm sure we'll have some questions during this, so we're happy to talk about that. And then outside of that, just keep doing the things that we're doing. The last few weeks have been great. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, I get up and I read the blotter, make sure everything's good. We're always in the news for good stuff, never for bad lately. So thank you. And I think that's going to be the tone of today. Is really thank you guys. I cannot imagine how difficult it is, the restrictions that you're in the early portions of your career. So thank you, Senior.
Nothing to add, but hopefully this is just more of a common sense thing. So if you've been outside lately, you'll notice it's getting hot. So I would say, we're in West Texas. It's dry here, so don't forget to hydrate, especially as we start to ramp up with PT again. Right now, the MTLs and the staff will unveil the overall plan, but just know that some of that is going to require us being outdoors, right? So make sure that you're hydrating and you're drinking liquids and water. I say that, so no sodas and energy drinks, and to include banks, are as good as they are. But definitely make sure you're drinking plenty of water.
So we can we'll field some questions. If you guys ask questions, I'll answer the questions. If not, there's a couple of data pieces I can pass. We'll do this. Let's start off with the questions.
Sir, can we receive an explanation for the exact reason we are restricted from leaving base? I don't understand what is protecting us from what it is protecting us from, since we still have a consistent daily flow of traffic through the gate / postal service, etc.
So first of all, we're supposed to be building critical thinkers, and that is an outstanding question. You pass critical thinking.
Yeah.
You're right. We don't have it at zero, right? There's people who come in. Your instructors probably live off base. We are exposing. We're still exposing you to potential disease, but what we're doing is trying to reduce the number of touch points that would occur, right? So if 2,000 students go off base, it's 2,000 additional touch points. So it is disproportionately affecting the students because we've locked you on a base or restricted you to base. But that is the reality. It's not 100% certain, but it has, in theory, diminished the likelihood. Senior, can you help clean that up?
I mean, honestly, it is. I mean, the boss kind of hit it as far as just trying to reduce the amount of contact, off base, and then bring that back because, obviously, 2,000 airmen across the training group, that's that many more people out there, in the community that can now bring that back to the base. And then now we have a larger problem on the base. By reducing that footprint off base, we've been able to minimize that to where I think we don't have any cases, to my knowledge, here on base. So once again, I know, that part of it, isn't probably what you want to hear, but it has been effective. And as the city around us, as they begin to continue to open things up, we still want to be deliberate in making sure that it's the right thing to do before releasing you guys out to there. Because last thing you want to do is release you out to the community. Oh crap, there's a spike in cases. Now we got to lock it all down again. So I know that will be even more demoralizing for you. So we want to make sure that when the time is right to release you guys back out and allow you off base, we want to make sure that's going to be a enduring privilege and freedom that you guys are going to have, not one that's going to be short-lived.
I think, and thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I found a point. So in each one of these briefs, we talked about what our priorities are, and our number one priority is your health and safety. And part of that goes into the mental health and keeping training open. The sacrifice of keeping or restricting people to base is specifically designed so I can keep the classrooms open and keep you guys training.
Right.
As you've seen, the 315th's got two separate incidents where there's two groups of 30 people in restriction right now. Not sick. There's one person was sick and being tested. Everybody else had contact. But that's for two people, brought 60 people into not going to training today and until those tests come back. So by limiting the number on and off base, we think we can reduce the risk of exposure, which allows us to keep the pipeline open longer, which ultimately gets you guys out of here on time, which is the number one priority, because that's really the only thing I can offer you now is training and the opportunity to move on with your lives as fast as possible.
and you guys will actually get to leave Goodfellow the gate permanently. Versus versus hey, I get to go downtown San Angelo, I get to move on past San Angelo to my first base and on to bigger, better things. So that's kind of the end goal, and hopefully you guys can kind of see that as being the ultimate prize, if you will, of trying to minimize that amount of time you could potentially have to stay here longer than you originally would have anyway. So
What is the status of having sanitized shuttles to transport airmen PCSing?
Man, that's a good question too. So right now we've done the data collection on that across the ATC, right? To figure out what the transcon lift would look like to get you there. So basically, could you reverse engineer how we bring people in from basic training, right? Get you on a bus, get you out to the airport, put you on a plane, and then basically shuttle to main distribution points to get you to primary bases. So it's an exploration. Now, I don't know if that juice is worth the squeeze there. I don't honestly know because I haven't seen all of the math, right? We're also a contingency plan because, as you know, we're in a small place and these planes cancel. So that's been another concern, is make sure we have a pipeline open. So lots of words to tell you. There's thought, there's planning, and there's studying on whether or not that effort is worth it.
Right.
That's a good question.
That's really good.
Going back to PT, I hear the gym is opening up on Monday. Can we get an explanation as to if there is going to be time restrictions, capacity limits, or daily hours?
Okay, the gym is not opening on Monday,
Like,
unless I'm the last to find out. I can ask.
is that late breaking?
Yeah, the gym is at least as of yesterday morning at the wing stand up, and we'll have updated data tomorrow. There was no intent to open the gym shortly. There is a plan to take gym equipment and move it and distribute it in some of the overhangs outdoors to get you access to gym equipment. I don't know what the timeline is, but I do believe the intent is to have that set up before, not this weekend, but next weekend. So I think maybe some rumors are crossing in the streams and mixing a little bit, but hopefully there'll be some gym equipment available outdoors. But it's going to be hot, so make sure you're hydrated.
Right.
And that's not unprecedented. So when you deploy, there are a number of places that have outdoor gyms. So there's places we can model after, and I think we can get to better, if not good, on this.
And this is a beefy one. I have heard that in the coming weeks, we'll be reverting back to business as normal circumstances on base. Phase 1 without Phase 2 privileges and this new uniform from 0700 to 1630 rule. I'm wondering if there will be any changes regarding being able to leave base or going to any of the facilities that were closed down due to Corona. Kind of a restriction of freedoms, kind of trade-off, since morale is a big issue.
Man, you guys, I feel like we need to have surprise meetings so you can have less questions. No, that is an awesome question. So I'm going to try to layer it back as we go. Let's start with the ops normal. We're never going to go back to normal. We will all, or at least what we knew is normal. We are going to capture some of the stuff that we're doing now that is useful, the distance learning, hopefully some of the less formal practices to get to and from class, stuff like that. So I hope we find a better normal on the other side of this. The uniform during the day was to kind of to tighten up some things, right? It's tough. I don't want to say it's optics management because that's not the right answer, but it's we're in the military. We should wear our uniform. The hours we can scale it back. I think that we need to be considerate if somebody's working B shift, they don't need to put on a uniform at 8 a.m.
Right.
If somebody works CQ the night before and is off that day, they don't need to put on their uniform. So we're gonna have to find the right on that. We're trying to open up some of the establishments that were closed to get you access to things. I would love to see. I'd love to see some opportunities to get at. I can't say specifically because I don't want to get tied to them. But I know the mission support group is looking actively at ways to open up things. And I totally get the morale part. Dude, I don't know. See,
It's yeah. I mean, kind of like what we mentioned before. It's more about opening things up smartly and not rushing just to be able to do it. Because the last thing you want to do is open these things up and then we're having to then close them back down because we've had some issues. We're trying to be very deliberate and taking in all the information from various agencies outside the base to make sure that, hey, is the climate, is everything right for us to do this, so that way we don't have to go back to what we're doing right now. Um, right now, I mean, like we kind of stressed already, is we just need you guys to be patient and just know that we are trying to work these things. We completely understand the morale issue um, of being restricted to the base, but understand that we're trying to be deliberate to make sure that whatever we do, whatever decision the wing makes, it's going to be enduring and not something that's going to have to get changed within a couple of days of it being enacted. So,
And I don't know, and
yeah,
yeah, I hope this actually resonates and is belief in it. But your morale is a central planning issue, and I got it. This is starting to get a little ludicrous.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your professionalism as we move through this. I anticipate seeing the gym equipment is to start opening things. I anticipate seeing a few other things opening up, but I don't know specifically what or when. I know there's plans for the long weekend to get things on base, get some food trucks on base for some hours, um, to try to improve morale. But those are just small steps. We need to get better, and I don't know when that's going to happen. Right.
Is the status still the same on getting our cars to us or having them shipped to us?
If I say yes, does
Yeah,
that
sure.
work?
My status.
Yeah, so if somebody brings you a car, I guess you pick up your car. I don't really, I'm not really sure exactly how to answer that question.
Yeah, I mean they're not coming on base, so I mean if they're outside the gate, if that's what you guys are doing the exchange, but yeah, I would definitely say be careful with those, and obviously if you I would say right now if you don't have to do something like that, then don't, because the threat of the virus is still there, especially for a lot of people that are asymptomatic, but if that's just your only way to get to where you are or whatever the case is, I would say try to keep that to a minimum and prolong that as much as you can. But yeah, if you're going to do that, do it outside the gate, but still within the boundaries of the wings policy. So that doesn't mean go pick it up at HEB or anything like that. That means right out here off of Chaborn to get it from there.
How does mandatory uniform wear from 0700 to 1630 apply to those working Panama shifts or CQ?
Oh, yeah. So when you're working, wear your uniform. When you're not working, don't worry about it. If everybody who's supposed to be in uniform was wearing uniform, we're not going to have to worry about the people who don't have to be in uniform. I think the problem was, I think we had like maybe Monday or Tuesday, there was a large group, lots of people walking around and without their uniform, and it kind of looks, it brings up questions. Right. And I got it. Distance learning. If I'm in my room studying, I'm gonna I do work from home in sweatpants, so I got that. We just need to, when we leave our room, make sure we're being square. Right.
What is the future looking like for PT tests? Are we full steam ahead on June 1st, or is there something coming from higher Air Force regarding a possible delay past June 1st? It seems most other branches have pushed back testing for 2 later months.
Yeah,
People studying.
they gotta be paying
Dang,
attention.
this is good, man.
I love it.
Critical thinking, creative thinking,
Yeah.
asking your boss really hard questions. You're checking all the containers. So right now, the dates are the dates for PT testing. If I were a betting man, which I'm not encouraging that, there's no sports anyways. Testing, I don't think we're going to be testing anytime soon. I don't know within the current limits and contact and distancing, I don't know how you would execute that test. So I think we're going to be okay for a little bit on testing. However, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to kind of transition into PT itself. For years, the Air Force has been discussing that PT test should not be the focus of your PT, because that's stupid. If you max perform your PT test, and then you deploy 3 months later after eating cheeseburgers and French fries for 3 months and not working out, we've kind of defeated the purpose. So what we've been charged with, and this is going to come down, and it's going to be a direction, is to bring fitness into our culture, to PT outside of the PT test. So expect to see some requirements to PT. Expect to see some mock tests that may not look like the mocks that we've had in the past. Might just be a pass fail or minimum standard type deal. But expect to see some PT, but don't expect to necessarily see PT tests. Is that
Yeah, that checks her. Yeah, that checks.
All right. Will this bit of 315th being quarantined today stop the lifting of restrictions?
so now somebody's not doing good with creative thinking. No, no, it's not going to
No.
stop. So no, it's ops normal, right? So we had an issue a few weeks ago. I think it was a 1 in 4 class. Somebody got the sniffles. We had some other people in quarantine, some isolation. Person got tested good, came back. Everybody came back.
Right.
Same thing for them. They got stuck in a situation where they were not quite as social distance and as quite as lean into the distance learning as we are. Right now, we justifiably, if someone gets put in isolation, I pretty much only have to put their roommate and their suite mates into quarantine. Because of all of our other practices. But those are probably not going to change.
Right. Yeah. That checks her. Yeah.
If the lockdown continues for another month or so, would there be any way to allow multi-gender visitation with doors fully open and approval of any other roommate? It is getting very hot outside, and some of us just want to play games or watch movies.
Dude, God help, please not. Now, if we end up with another month, whoever asked that question, I'm blaming you. Let me see what I can do. I cannot authorize that, but that is a fair and legitimate question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask around. I don't have the authority to say anything on that, whether or not I can. I can tell you I will be a proponent for it, but I can't tell you that it'll necessarily happen.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that checks her. Yeah, it's a sensitive topic, but at the same time, I think something realistic, especially if we kind of think there's a potential that we're going to be under this restriction for that much longer. I think it goes to one of those, hey, if we're asking the students to remain restricted, what can we provide them in the near term to try to ease some of that burden? And this might be it. But I would say if we do go down this path, it's going to be incumbent on you guys to show the same maturity that you have with the drinking thing and everything else, that we're going to need you guys to police each other to make sure that doors are remaining open and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys are serious about something like this and we get the go ahead to do it, we'll also need you guys to make sure that you kind of back us up and make sure that we don't get burned by somebody doing something dumb and ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, don't hose me.
Yeah.
All right. If it'll still be a while before we are allowed off base, can we please make provisions for less expensive clothes and accessories to be sold on base? There are quite a few of us who do not want to spend a good chunk of our paycheck on full price and brand name clothes at the BX. And often we can't find our sizes at the BX either. The sunglasses there are brand name and very expensive, for example. Also, online shopping is fairly limited right now and still more expensive than thrifting.
So I really wish my wife thought that the online shopping was limited. And the fact that we're putting you in your uniforms, you don't need it now.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah.
No, okay, I'll ask. I'll see what I can get.
I mean, that's a tough one because, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, because I would say that would be an issue that's not specific to even the current conditions. I mean, that would be something that would always exist. And so, and I know it's been brought up before. But yeah, I mean, that's something that we'll have to look into. I'm not sure how much traction we're actually going to be able to get on that. And then at the same time, too, you guys need to also consider, the priorities as far as, hey, if you want us to go to the wing and ride or die for one or two things, what would those one or two things be? Would you rather have, hey, let's open up more things on the base, or do you want cheaper Oakleys? So you kind of need to think about, which one would you prefer?
Yeah, that's a good answer, man.
Yeah.
And you got ride or die in there.
Yeah.
All right, 2 questions. First, my standard, is personnel still working on those orders for those who are stuck? Is there still hope that stuck airmen might leave? Second, I was curious about getting an explanation behind the recent uniform rule. Like, was there some sort of issue with people not wearing uniforms, or is it we're all in this together type of thing?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So here's the I don't knife hand. No, so straight up, yeah. We are getting airmen unstuck by the, and I understand it doesn't help you if you're that airman asking that question. Sure. But I'm actually pretty comfortable that every time we pick, we get the largest, the longest tenured 5 names, and we knock those out.
Right.
Our success rate, it's not 5 of 5, but it's okay.
It's doing pretty good.
But if you have a specific issue, get it up the chain. When I'm walking on the dorms, ask, because that's the reason we do it. And if it's something that we can just push a button or turn a knob, I know there's a number of people, particularly ones that were airborne, that are going to a ground job that's a little bit lengthier of a process, because first we have to change an AFSC, which takes a while, and then we have to work an assignment, which takes a while also. But I know there's other people who it's simply for whatever reason a DD AFSC didn't show up right. It's annoying, and I got it. We'll keep working it. Uniform thing, it's a little bit of this. It's all of us in this together, which is not a fair answer. But that's the reality. It's some of that, and it's some of the, we're in the military, we should wear a uniform. But that's not a fair answer either. But that's the best I got.
No, it's a duty day thing, and I think at the end of the day, the duty day, from 07:30 to 16:30, within that time, I know a lot of you are distance learning, so you may be doing training from your rooms or your dorm rooms or whatnot. But then some of you may be going to chow. Well, your duty is training, and during that time during the day, if you're out and about the base, you should be in uniform. And honestly, call me old school or whatnot, but I don't think that's too much to ask. We're in the military. If we're having to negotiate with you wearing your uniform, I think we've kind of missed a mark on the importance of certain things. I think that shouldn't be something that should be questioned. It should just be, you know what? Yep, I'm in the uniform. I'm proud of it. Yeah, I got it. It's hot outside. But I would say, for a lot of the different things we've been able to do for the students, something like that shouldn't be too much to ask. Just to, hey, if you're leaving your dorm room, you happen to be transiting the base, wear your uniform, because then it just makes it much easier for the other things that the boss and chief want to go out and try to get done for you guys. If we're not having to worry about these little small things, it makes it easier to get things on base opened up, or the potential for you guys to be able to leave the base altogether too. So do some of the small things, that way we can continue to get approval for some of the bigger things that we know you guys want.
But for clarity, you can wear your PT gear
Right,
too.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So that's all I have for the questions already. So
is that wow?
There's-
That's really 100 of you, and that's everything.
132.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of do a recap on a couple high notes, senior fill in what we're missing here, and then kind of by time, unless it's in case there's any last minute questions. So the high notes, the 4-day weekend, there are some significant plans in effect right now. Trying to get food trucks, trying to get some more entertainment available. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be fast enough, but it's going to be something. And it's going to open the door for more, so that's important. I need you all to stick to the rules a little bit longer. I don't know what a little bit is. I can tell you there's nothing worth getting from this town that's worth getting stuck here longer, or not stuck, but getting the opportunity to stay at San Angelo longer. There's nothing at the local Walmart. There's no restaurants in this town that are worth going to. That'll get you that. So just don't do it. Weekends coming up. I need you guys to execute the same way you've been the last few weeks. Just don't be drinking on the back of a go-kart. That's dumb. But outside of that, just keep policing each other. You guys are killing it. Thank you. And again, I truly mean this is not a lie. I am amazed by your professionalism, given the conditions and the restrictions. So thank you, and you all should be very, very proud of how you're acting.
Right.
So thank you.
That's an answer.
someone wants to know when you're going to become chief, sir.
Who asked that question?
Oh, let me throw him under the bus here.
Oh God, now you
Oh no, I'm just kidding.
don't read their name out.
He says, "Never mind, I can't spell chief properly." So I don't know if you have to answer that.
Me
anymore.
neither. The dyslexic thing.
Yeah, right. The E before the I or I before the E or SF. No, I appreciate that. That's a good question. We'll see. But to be honest, I'm not too concerned about that because whether as a senior or a chief, my job or focus doesn't change. So being here to advocate for you guys to make sure you guys are getting the best training, getting the best resources that you guys can. That's the focus. But I definitely appreciate the question.
Here's one. Are we allowed to wear the OCP hot weather top? AFI 362903 does not explicitly mention this garment, but the temperature is only going to get worse as the summer persists.
So it's where it's looks like a long sleeve T-shirt, but it has the same print. So sleeves here. You may see security forces wearing them.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think because normally those are issued specifically to certain AFSs.
Vendors and things like
Yeah,
that.
so I'd be curious. I mean, if you went and bought one, yeah, I'm not sure because that is really more of a duty specific type uniform item. And your duties, you're either in the skiff or you're in your room. So I would not probably push that one.
I don't know that I'm going to get anywhere with that. but
Yeah,
yeah. Good job looking at the AFI. That's
that's
awesome.
it. Yeah.
All right. Is it possible to bring dependents on base housing with keeping them in quarantine before getting to live with them?
Is it possible? I guess. I don't know what that looks like, but first you got to get approval to get base housing. So once you get base housing, then we figure out the logistics on what that looks like. But I don't want to say it's impossible because
Right.
it's totally possible. I don't know how we do it. We'll just figure it out.
All right, I got a smart alecky comment, but it's pretty funny. I heard the Golden Corral is open for dining now. Are we really going to beat this thing?
If you go to the Golden Corral at any point in your life, I'm going to put you in isolation. I don't mean that. That does not. Don't anybody recording this or whatever.
It's a joke. Yeah.
Just a joke. Dude, I don't know. So they opened up the river.
Right.
So a couple weeks ago, and then there were thousands of people that showed up and threw trash everywhere, and they had to
Trash,
close
yeah.
it again.
Yeah.
So human behavior.
Yeah.
It's great.
You said that we should be in uniform when transiting the base, but it would be okay to do stuff in 3139. I will neither confirm nor deny whether I had someone get on me about doing laundry in cities.
Jesus. No, let's just be reasonable, right? If you're in the dorms doing your laundry, do your laundry.
Right. Right.
You leave the door, put on your uniform. If you don't want anybody to ever bother you, put on PT clothes. Just make smart decisions.
Yeah.
Is the gym equipment going to be placed around the gym in close proximity so that I do not have to run around the base to work out?
It's called cardio, bro.
Yeah.
No, so they're gonna put it in some centralized locations underneath the overhangs. I don't exactly know what it's gonna look like. The way Colonel Nazario has described it is the Venice Beach of West Texas.
Right.
So yeah, it's gonna be spread out. The more they spread it out, the more equipment they can put out.
Right.
So I am all for them spreading it out, but I don't know exactly what that looks like.
And do you know what the specific holdup is with MPF? Is it due to classes being accelerated, them not being able to keep up with orders? Multiple airmen have been graduated for over a month now.
Really?
Yeah.
So multiple means more than one. So,
Yeah, more than one. So guys, if you look around, there's a bunch of different things going on with AFPC. So this is where everything tends to bottleneck. So AFPC, they're having to come up with plans on, hey, how are we going to PCS folks and what orders, what tiers, priorities, and whatnot. And oh, by the way, then how do we also do that and get the right people, the right orders? So for AFPC collectively, they're kind of on the focus right now as far as coming up with all these different moving parts. And so, yes, timelines are somewhat longer than maybe what they would be because of all the different things that they're trying to work at the same time. But still, historically, we're still doing pretty well as far as being able to get students out of here in a timely fashion. Just a few weeks ago, we were able to push out about a dozen guys heading out to SEER. And then we also pushed out about a dozen more the following week. So we've been able to get some wins as far as getting people out of here in a pretty big hurry. What I would say though is, from talking to the staff, there have been instances where, hey, they're waiting on you guys to provide them with some documentation or some paperwork. So I would make sure that before you say, hey, this is somebody else's problem, it's their fault, make sure that you haven't missed something to provide for them. Because I continually get told, hey, your airman didn't come to this briefing or didn't come to this briefing, and they didn't provide us with this information. So I would say before, make sure that you've done everything possible and that they don't need any more information from you to push your stuff along.
We can, so tomorrow we can pull a roster, see who's been here over a month since graduation and see what the holdup is.
Right.
But it's a little bit of everything, right?
Right.
If you graduate, over a month early, yeah, that kind of does take away from that. The data point that I'd give you is obviously everybody's individual situation is different.
Right.
And it sucks for the person who's still here. But we had, when this started, over 700 airmen.
Right.
We now have 558.
Right.
So the process is working.
Mm-hmm.
Just not for everybody and not as fast as we want it to.
All right, sir, I think that's it.
Oh, please, baby Jesus. All right. So again, folks, this has been awesome. I really do appreciate, and thank you for asking the hard questions and making us stand here and answer them, because it keeps our head in the right spot, right? Because we are accountable ultimately to you all and to your health and getting you trained. So thank you for participating. One last bit, and this will come out details. Next Wednesday, I think Senior, we've agreed, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Next Wednesday, the squadron is going to have its first push-up challenge day. What it's going to mean, and we're going to put out the directions because everything's going to get jumbled, is you can challenge any other member of the squadron to 10 push-ups that you'll do with them, but you can only challenge each individual once a day. So you could walk around and you could challenge everybody in your class individually and knock those push-ups up. 100 of you could challenge me for 10 push-ups.
Right.
Not in a row, please.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be it's gonna be a day. We're gonna see how many push-ups we can do.
Yeah.
So so get up for it next Wednesday. We're gonna have our first push-up challenge day. We'll see how that goes. And, remember, I'm an old man. So I got nothing else. I want to thank you all for your time again. Make sure that's not a last-minute question as I lean in awkwardly.
There is one, yes.
Oh,
I have been fully adjudicated and have been in-docked here once before. However, I am back on waiting status because my class switched from distance learning to the skip. I was told, though, that I can just go and ask to get my badge back.
All right, so I need you to route your data up, so I'm not going to chase down names and everything on here because that's awkward for everybody. Get your data in your class routed up, either through discourse to Sergeant Gear or through your MTLs or Sergeant Hahn or Sergeant Gardner or Allen. That seems weird and maybe a communication issue.
Yeah.
But we'll get after it.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, folks, have a great day. Great day tomorrow. Keep killing the weekend. Oh, hey, one last thing. In the last 2 days, our squadron has been highlighted in an article on a DoD press release and then on on a NORAD press release.
Yeah.
So, and when I say our squadron, it's not our staff, it's not our leadership, it's not our students, it's our squadron.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. It's an honor to be a commander of a squadron that is in newspapers and DoD level publications more for that than they ever show up in the blotter. So thank you all. Have a great day.
All right. That's it. Stay safe.